Before we get into this story, I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd really like to hear how you would have handled this situation. It was Christmas Eve, and I was carrying the last of the dessert into the dining room, humming a tune I thought I liked. The house smelled like cinnamon, roasting turkey, and pine needles from the tree. Everything felt perfect, or at least I thought it did. That's when I saw it. Through the doorway, my heart stopped. My wife was kissing him. Not a fleeting peck, but a slow, intimate kiss that froze me where I stood. The man she was kissing? One of my coworkers, someone I trusted. Someone I had laughed with, shared projects with, and never imagined would be part of this nightmare. Time slowed. I remember the hum of the heater, the soft flicker of the Christmas lights, even the faint smell of her perfume mixing with the scent of pine. All of it became unbearably sharp, almost cruel. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, to collapse into the floor. But I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It hadn't started that night. The signs had been there, subtle at first, like shadows I didn't want to see. Missed calls she claimed were from work. Messages that vanished when I glanced over. A smile that didn't quite reach her eyes when she looked at me. Even little things, like the way she suddenly got defensive when I asked about her day, were warnings I ignored because I didn't want to believe them. I tried rationalizing it. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I had become paranoid. But when I found her phone left unattended one evening, I couldn't ignore it any longer. A message popped up from his number. "I can't wait to see you again." I didn't confront her then. I didn't know how. I wanted to protect the family, the holiday spirit, even my own fragile pride. So I stayed silent, pretending everything was normal while my trust slowly unraveled. I watched her in our house, sharing glances with him, talking in hushed tones, excuses that never quite added up. Every lie, every smile, every moment we shared felt tainted. That night at Christmas dinner, it all became real. I stood frozen, dessert in hand, as laughter and chatter filled the room. My parents were talking about the decorations, my sister was helping the kids with crafts, and in the center of it all, my wife leaned into him. I felt a wave of emotions so intense I couldn't name them all: shock, anger, betrayal, heartbreak, disbelief. My mind tried to grasp it, to explain it, to tell me I was dreaming. But my eyes didn't lie. My heart didn't lie. I stepped back silently, retreating to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I set the dessert down. I didn't want a scene, didn't want to spoil Christmas for everyone else. But inside, everything was breaking. I kept replaying our life together. The mornings she used to make coffee, the nights we laughed under blankets, the little notes she left on my desk. Were they lies? Were they just masks? The memories felt like knives now, cutting deep into trust one didn't realize I had taken for granted. I finally confronted her later, after everyone had gone home. The house was quiet, except for the hum of the fridge. I asked simply, "Why?" Her eyes filled with tears, not anger or defiance. I don't know. I felt lonely, ignored, and he made me feel seen. It was human, flawed, but devastatingly cruel. I wanted to scream, to cry, to demand justice, but instead I felt a strange clarity. Love wasn't enough to cover betrayal. Trust wasn't a gift you could demand. It had to be earned. And I realized that I couldn't rebuild something so broken. "I loved you," I said quietly, my voice catching. "But I can't live in a life built on lies." She tried to explain further, to justify, to beg. But I had made my decision. I needed to reclaim myself, to protect my heart. The love I had given freely wasn't enough to repair the fractures she had made. Walking away that night, the winter air sharp against my face, I felt a mix of sorrow and relief. Painful, yes, but also a strange sense of liberation. I realized that leaving didn't make me weak. Staying would have. I had a choice to honor my own worth, to refuse to let betrayal define me. The following weeks were some of the hardest of my life. I packed my things, stayed with a friend, and let the quiet rebuild me. Every memory of her stung, but I began to remember who I was outside of her shadow. I returned to old hobbies, friends, and routines, finding strength in the simple act of living for myself again. I also learned that closure isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's a quiet moment of self-respect. Choosing your own peace over anger, choosing life over resentment. Months later, I walked past a Christmas tree in the park, children laughing around it, and felt a pang but not despair. I had survived, I had grown, and I had reclaimed the part of myself that she tried to destroy. Life doesn't end with betrayal. It starts over, painfully, slowly, beautifully. And though the memory of that Christmas will always sting, I also carry a deeper understanding of my own worth, my own resilience, and the power of walking away when love is no longer honest.